Review. From the first pages, the reader is introduced to the prosperous Kingdom of Lydia, ruled by King Candaules, a powerful but arrogant monarch, and in parallel discovers the simplicity of the pastoral life of Gyges, a young man far from royal pomp. This opposition between the corrupt wealth of the court and the apparent purity of the fields sets the stage for the tragedy that follows. The chapters dedicated to the earthquake and Gyges' descent into the depths give the story an aura of cosmogonic myth. The earth opens not just as a natural accident, but as a fissure between worlds, a passage from the visible order of people to the forbidden depths where ancient secrets are hidden. The giant sarcophagus, the ancient body and the golden ring are loaded with archetypal meanings. The small man is confronted with the relics of a colossal power, and the object found, a simple golden circle, becomes the gateway to absolute temptation. The writing emphasizes very well the ambivalence of the discovery. The ring does not appear from the beginning as a tool of evil, but as a mysterious gift. Gyges wears it without knowing what it hides, and the moment of his first invisibility is treated with the innocence of a child discovering a game. However, this dangerous game very quickly becomes the gateway through which freedom turns into abuse. The central part of the story explores the transformation of Gyges, from simple shepherd to conspirator drawn into the queen's nets. The episodes with Candaules and his wife are extremely well anchored in the mythological tradition. The king forces Gyges to see his wife naked, an act of hubris, of pride that provokes the queen's anger. From this point, the plot takes on the tension of a Greek tragedy. The queen becomes the instrument of fate, and Gyges, caught between shame, desire and the temptation of power, falls prey to his own weakness. The moment Gyges accepts the plan to kill the king is the point of moral irreversibility. Invisibility is no longer a game, but a weapon. From here, the hero becomes an anti-hero, a shadowy assassin, a usurper, then a king. His coronation marks not only an external triumph, but the beginning of an internal collapse. Chapters 20 to 22 emphasize the philosophical dimension of the story. Once on the throne, Gyges uses the ring to taste all the forbidden pleasures: espionage, seduction, manipulation. Absolute freedom, however, brings him absolute terror. The people live under the rule of a sovereign who can be anywhere, anytime, unseen. Power, which should have brought security and order, becomes an occasion for fear and insecurity. At the same time, Gyges' soul no longer knows peace. Guilt, disturbing dreams, permanent restlessness show that man cannot escape his own conscience. Even invisibility, a triumph against the gaze of others, does not save him from the inner eye. The appearance of the sage in chapter 23 is the key to reading the entire story. He does not rebuke him, does not threaten him, but simply asks him, "Are you truly happy?" In the face of this interrogation, Gyges staggers. His tacit answer, the recognition of the loss of peace of mind, is stronger than any condemnation. Thus, the story enters into direct resonance with Plato's central theme: justice as harmony of the soul. Power, pleasure, wealth cannot compensate for the loss of inner balance. The ring does not bring happiness, but only the illusion of a freedom that ends in moral slavery. The epilogue, through the ambiguity of the ring's disappearance, preserves the legendary character of the story. It offers the suggestion that the object has not disappeared definitively, but remains hidden, ready to return in other times. This opening universalizes the myth. Each generation, each man, can be faced with his own version of the ring. Moreover, the ending subtly answers the philosophical question. It is not the ring that is the problem, but the man who wears it. The object becomes only a mirror of the soul, a supreme test of freedom. As a narrative work, the story is distinguished by its ample construction, with an architecture in 25 chapters that follow a classic arc of tragedy: initial innocence, discovery, temptation, fall, apparent triumph, guilt and final reflection. The pace gradually increases, and the rich descriptions, from the giant's tomb to the splendor of the royal palace, give the text a mythical aura. Symbolically, the ring becomes the absolute expression of power without responsibility. It focuses the eternal dilemma of humanity. What do we do when we can do anything? In parallel, the queen is the voice of fate and revenge, Candaules is the figure of hubris, and the philosopher appears as a moral authority. Although the story belongs to an ancient world, its message is astonishingly current. In an age of technology and digital anonymity, the question, "What do you do when no one sees you?" applies as well as in Plato's time. The power of invisibility is no longer just a mythological fantasy, but a metaphor for the apparent freedom that hidden environments, non-transparent decisions, or uncontrolled power offer. Thus, the legend of Gyges remains a universal warning. True freedom does not consist in being able to do anything, but in being able to choose the good even when no one is looking.